down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Are you down with OTC? OTC. Are you down with OTC? Down with OTC. Down with OTC.
So who's down with OTC? What is going on? It's the last day, I should say, of 2020. And who isn't super excited about that? The last day of 2020. What does that mean? That means I'll see you all next year. But today we're gonna be talking a lot about the fact, can the decentralized asset XRP survive without the centralized company Ripple? We're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at some prominent voices and thought leaders and see what they have to say. And it's all coming up right now.
And now, the XRP Minute with Chip on the chain.
Chip here with the XRP Minute. If it's your first time here, please like, subscribe, click that notification bell, and you'll be notified the next time either myself, Jeff, or Jeff and I, or somebody goes live, right? And we have that other channel below. Click that link below if you're on YouTube. By the way, first time on Facebook, streaming live to Facebook as well. Even though I haven't been on there in about 2 years, but I'm streaming live to Facebook. So there you go. So I wanted to shout out a few people here in the comments. First one in here today is Ferdy. Ferdy, boom. He says hi. Hello, Ferdy. Hi, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. And all the way from Australia, g'day mate. Silhouette Park Farm, who has an awesome YouTube channel and streams about his, it's really cool because my wife and I want to get a farm, and he talks all about his farm and his animals, and it's really cool. Lady E is in here. What's up, Lady E? Good to see you. Channing Smithson, man, good to have you back, my man. Lady E says, yes, show some love and appreciation. Smash, share, like, subscribe, choose it all, right? Just go ahead and choose it all. And then sneaking in the side door, we've got a gray man. A gray man. Just popped in. Crypto Camper. Whoa, dude. Long time, man. Good to see you in here as well. And I'm not going to shut up. There's so many. Wade is in here. Wade Hutchins is in here. Yo, 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 yo. It's all good to see you. AI, I'm suing my brother. Okay, well, if you have to, man, you do what you have to do. Just do what you have to do. It's all right. We'll be okay with it. It's okay. No one's going to worry about that. So I think what we're going to do today, and this is, the whole week we've been sort of breaking it down. If you caught any of the earlier streams, we've been sort of breaking down this SEC complaint, SEC v. Ripple, right? There's a complaint. It was filed on December 22nd, 2020. And that's already going to be a year ago tomorrow, right? It'd be like, oh yeah, last year they filed that. And what we're going to do is we're going to break some stuff down here because, there's a lot of chitter chatter out on the Twitters and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the wherevers of the world, right? All these social networks. And people have been talking. They've been saying all kinds of crazy things like, oh my God, the sky is falling. And it's not that bad. But I'm going to plan to play both sides of this. I'm going to play what happens if I like this. So Pumpkin, and that's his name right there. He just bought 500 more XRP. Good for you. And let's Mr. B's here. Mr. B's wishing everybody a happy new year. Mr. B, thank you for all that you do in the space and for bringing, the accurate data and information and providing your insights. If you guys don't know, Mr. B has his own channel. Check it out. And of course, Ferdy doing a little shout out to as well there. And none other than, it's my co-host Jeff, who does the HODL review, which he'll be doing that on Saturday. We actually are talking about doing the first live stream of 2020, Jeff and I, which would actually be on Friday, right? So Friday, and when is Friday? Tomorrow, right? Possibly tomorrow we're doing a live stream sometime during the day because we want to start the year off right. We're hoping that 2020 was not the movie trailer for 2021. That wouldn't be so fun, right? Because it's just a glimpse of what we're seeing. But I think we have a lot of things in store for 2021. A lot of good things. GDLT, what's up? In good hands. Another YouTuber providing good stuff on around this whole SEC thing as well. Unfortunately, he's streaming when I'm going to bed. He streams at like 1:30 in the morning sometimes because he's from California. And so want to jump into this, and I want to hear your questions. Let's workshop this, and I want to go ahead and share my screen. Let's jump through this. Let's see what we have here. Let's look through and see what's going on. Okay, so I want to share this right here. And, XRP delisted on more platforms following the SEC's complaint. And let's just zoom in a little bit on this here because I wanted to jump in. So the crypto exchanges, Crypto.com, Coinbase, OKCoin. Yeah, okay. So hang on a second. Listen, I'm a big fan of OK Computer, big Radiohead fan here, right? I love OK Computer. OKCoin, have to be honest, never heard about it. Never heard of it before. Maybe it's popular. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm a fan of OK Computer. OKCoin, not so much. So let's bring this up a little bit. Let's workshop this thing. Actually, let's get the right screen here, people. Let's do this. There we go. So the cryptocurrency exchanges, we talked about Crypto.com, Coinbase, and OKCoin. They said this week they're going to suspend trading of the XRP token following a Securities and Exchange Commission, better known as the SEC, better known as the Grinch, who stole Christmas this year, and complained against its developer Ripple Labs. Wow. XRP, and these are the bullet points, and we'll dive in a little bit more. So XRP dropped 31% on Tuesday, but it already climbed back up roughly 23% as of Thursday. Now, if you're in here going like, what's XRP? Well, it's a digital asset. It's a digital asset and otherwise known as a cryptocurrency. It has a value assigned to it. And XRP, the coin, is 1 foot in the grave, said Phil Liu. Now, he's the chief legal officer at Arca, told Business Insider. Ripple, the company, may be insolvent by the end of 2021 if it can't raise money by selling XRP and its other products aren't profitable. Oh, wow. Bring the doom and gloom. Here comes the doom and gloom. Phil Liu, Mr. Grinch. Here he is. He's bringing all the fear and uncertainty and doubt in here, which we like to call FUD, right? And then the SEC's lawsuit is against Ripple, not XRP. Not so fast, people. TechCrunch founder Michael Arrington, who runs the XRP fund, said that whatever happens to Ripple, XRP will continue to exist. Oh, why is that, Michael Arrington? That's because it's independent of the company. And why is that? Well, that's simply because XRP is decentralized. It is decentralized, meaning that Ripple has no affiliation with Ripple. Oh, sure, Ripple has a good portion, 45 some billion in lockup under an escrow account. Yeah, they have that. Sure they do. But it's a little bit different in the scenario. So one of the things that this whole thing alleges is the fact that it's a security, right? That's the whole underpinning of this complaint that the SEC alleged against Ripple, right? Ripple Labs. And the fact is if it is a security, if it's a security, I mean, how does that really work out for the rest of us, right? So what happens if they deem it a security? Well, a lot of things could happen. First off, most of Ripple's customers, I think 90% of them are outside the US. There's a good reason for that. Because of no regulatory clarity, there's not a lot of banks lining up to just like pull the trigger on that because they have enough problems dealing with their own fines that happen all the time, right? So we have another lawsuit jumped in too, which is levied against Coinbase for selling a security. Now you think about, okay, well, Coinbase selling a security, wait a minute. There is no regulation or clarity at all. There hasn't been any. I mean, a complaint is simply that. A complaint requesting a jury trial is what the SEC levied. Now I'm hearing all kinds of things out there like the SEC has charged Ripple. No, they have not charged Ripple. Oh, the hearing is coming up. Yeah, it's a pretrial hearing. The pretrial hearings that talk about the particulars about setting a hearing date. And what's a possibility in the stake here is that the Honorable Anna Torres, who is the judge assigned to this case, who is the Southern District of New York judge appointed to this, she put out an order stating that it would be in the party's best interest and for expediency if they would go to a magistrate, right? A magistrate judge, which would then be a lot faster than dealing with it in the district court. But both parties have to agree, Ripple and the SEC. Now, I don't see why they wouldn't want to. I mean, they might have their reasons. And again, I'm not an attorney, not a financial advisor, just a guy who likes doing YouTube videos, right? And I like sitting out and hanging out with you guys. But so they say visit Insider's homepage for more storage. Yay. Okay, let's get the thing here. Let's do this. Let's jump back in here. Let's go through this. Several cryptocurrency exchanges have delisted trading of XRP token this week. We already talked about that. We talked about who they were. And WireX, a crypto payments firm, Ziglu, an app, followed suit according to the block. Now, the SEC complaint accused Ripple of effectively running a 1.3 billion unregistered offering with its sales of XRP, which the regulator deemed a security, not a cryptocurrency. Well, nobody's deemed it anything as of now, but this is what happens. This is from Business Insider, which usually is pretty decent, but again, sometimes they get the nomenclature wrong. Sometimes they get I would say the whole idea wrong here. It's not, and nobody's deemed anything a security. They've accused them. Yeah, they brought a complaint, and the fact is, if it's not a cryptocurrency, let's do this. Let's do a little mini drill down. I've talked about this a little bit, but I think it's an important point. If it's not a security, and another complaint that's pervasive throughout this SEC v. Ripple complaint is the fact that Ripple, when they were giving this away, or they were selling it, or they were institutional investors were purchasing anywhere from 4 to 30% discount. What they're saying is, and it's pervasive, they say that Ripple didn't have lockup periods, didn't have any restrictions around the company selling it. But what happened as soon as the company received it, like a MoneyGram or one of these other institutional investors that maybe bought at a discount, they sold it immediately. Why did they sell it immediately? Because it's a currency, it has value. So when they're saying that it's a security and not a cryptocurrency, that's going to fall pretty short. I'm pretty sure the counsel for Ripple is going to address this, and it'll be like, well, if you guys are so teed off about the fact there were no restrictions around it, why were people selling it? Because it had a value, because it was a cryptocurrency, right? If it wasn't a cryptocurrency and it was all mumbo jumbo, what would be the point? So they kind of prove that point out. We've been closely monitoring the news surrounding the December 22nd SEC lawsuit. Company behind, the company behind XRP, yes, but that's kind of weird because you have to sort of define that. They were the company that sort of created it, but they don't control it, so it is decentralized. And that's where people go wrong, where Jeff made this point on another video where, people conflate, Ripple with XRP, XRP with Ripple. They often call the digital asset Ripple. They think that Ripple is XRP. No, it's a decentralized, centralized sort of a split there. OKCoin said in a statement on Monday, as the lawsuit proceedings take place, we have determined it is the best course of action to suspend XRP trading and deposits on OKCoin effective January 4th. Coinbase said that in light of the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple Labs, we've made the decision to suspend XRP trading pairs on our platform. Okay, so that's exactly what's happened, but there's a little bit of a different scenario here when we're talking about the fact that OKCoin is an exchange, but it's a little bit different in the sense when you're talking about Coinbase, because Coinbase is working on their own initial public offering, an IPO that's regulated through the SEC, and it makes perfect sense that they would want to sort of they wouldn't want to have any heat brought on them. So you can't do a market buy. You can do a limit buy right now on Coinbase Pro. You can't do it on the regular one, but if you go to Coinbase Pro, it's essentially your same login. I think it's pro.coinbase.com, whatever, but it's the pro version of it. You can do a little bit more when you log in there, and I think the cutoff date's January 19th. Now Coinbase has come out and said, look, don't worry about the custody of your asset. Because XRP on the institutional, because they also have a service for institutional custody and as well as for retail investors. But I guess the open question here is that suppose you have it on there and suppose XRP is on its way down, which I wouldn't be disappointed about, because I think a lot of people who are into the or who really appreciate the use case for XRP, the whole and the XRPL, the interoperability, the fact that you can move millions of dollars for a few pennies in 3 to 4 seconds with with full liquidity, and remittance on the side, so you don't have to deal with like the SWIFT, the 3 to 5 day type of thing. If you're into that, yeah, this is going to come as really good news to you on the way down. But will Coinbase, and this is something we got to figure out, will Coinbase allow you to then trade it back to fiat? In other words, will they allow you to cash out if in fact like you hit the panic button and you see that thing dropping and you go like, I want out? And that's fine. Some people are going to want to do that. You got to do what's best for yourself, right? You got to do your own research. You have to figure it out from your own standpoint and what you might want to do. So from that standpoint, yeah, you could potentially want to sell, but I'm not real clear on that. They haven't made it clear whether or not you can go ahead and cash out. I'm guessing you probably can, but again, we need some more clarity around that. Now, XRP did drop 31% on Tuesday. It lost 75% in value since hitting a 2-year high in early November. I think it went up as high as was in the 80-cent range, when investors took advantage of a weaker U.S. dollar to pile into cryptocurrencies. Yeah, I mean that's a theory, but nobody knows 100% because nobody controls it, right? I mean, nobody knows exactly what happened. As of Thursday, the coin gained roughly 23% since its Tuesday low. And then Phil Liu, who we talked about earlier, the chief legal officer at ARCA, said the lawsuit was at risk, right? He said it's a more serious one for Ripple because the coin has one foot in the grave. Ripple, the company, may be insolvent, but I think what's being missed here, and I think what Phil Liu is missing here, is the fact that even if it's deemed a security, which I don't see that happening, because what's on trial here and what's really at stake is this isn't this. If you're looking at this like this is the SEC versus Ripple, the bigger picture is this is the SEC versus the altcoin marketplace. And if it's SEC versus the altcoin, you're talking about every altcoin is in danger, right? Because they could all potentially be deemed securities, right? So you have a bigger problem. So what are you going to do? What's the SEC going to do? SEC's chief responsibility as an organization is to really protect consumers. It's one of the reasons they regulate public companies, to make sure everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen, the way disclosures are supposed to happen, right? And there's penalties, and then there's litigation that will go against. You can just go on the SEC site and see all kinds of suits brought, and litigation happening against companies, usually on the financial side where something's not quite right or they outstep the boundaries. There's a lot of compliance that has to go on when you're a public company versus a private company. You have to get quarterly reports, and you gotta put reports out to the SEC, full disclosure, transparency, the way you move money, the way you record, any monetary value, the way you report to your shareholders. It's a very big, sticky situation, and that's what the SEC is for, to regulate stuff like that. Now, in this case, how exactly are they helping bag holders? How about people who are investors in XRP? Like some of us have XRP in our portfolio. How are they helping us? How are they looking out for us? The little guy, guy, I'm actually not a little guy, but see that these are just the investors, and they bring this suit and they instantly tanked. I read a tweet not too long ago where somebody was in despair saying that they lost $150,000, that just vanished, the life savings and everything else. So there is ramification because you go ahead and file a lawsuit. These are allegations. Okay, in the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty, right? You have to be proven guilty or something has to be deemed in a court of law. And that's exactly how we got the Howey test in 1946. They came after Howey, who ran an orange grove and was selling these parcels of land. But the problem with that was that he didn't register as a security, and what the reason they deemed these parcels of land as security was because people were purchasing them, and Howey was saying, you don't even have to go to the orange parcel of land. We'll go ahead and farm it for you. We'll bring it to market. All you do is sit back and make profits. So there was implied the opportunity to make money, right? So they implied that there could be profits taken. So if you buy something that's an investment contract, implying that there is a potential to be able to pull out this, some kind of profits later, that obviously is there's a multi-prongs of what could be deemed a security. So anyway, I want to jump into chat. I saw some good questions here. I wanted to jump in here. Let's see. Shahab Hamdan says, would you compare suspend to halt in the market? When the market halts, it stops trading. Halt corrects the price to set accordingly and reopens at a higher price to the public. And he probably was finishing this thought. Just the thought, I'm guessing what he's saying. So compare suspend to a halt. This thing about suspending something, if you suspend the ability to purchase or trade XRP, this is what the part that I don't understand is like delisting. Delisting means it's completely off the platform, right? Get out, STRAM. There's not going to be any custody going on. If you have a wallet at one of these exchanges, a delisting, it's just removed from the platform. Now, halting something, this is another weird oddity, and this is one of the things we're gonna jump back into, where Michael Arrington, who I happen to really admire, just because he's often he puts his mind out there and he never holds back, and he runs the Arrington the XRP fund, where he invests in organizations, but he's also the former TechCrunch founder. Big fan of TechCrunch as well. There's a lot of good stories. It's changed over the years since Arrington was running it. But I kind of, I don't have to agree with everything he says, but I like the fact that he's provocative and he speaks his mind. And again, I think he's pretty much spot on here as well. So Critical Complex channel, XRP information and updates. You got to make that longer. That's way too long, David XRP. That's David XRP, by the way, who has a crypto channel, which you guys should check out as well. Coinbase already sells securities. Okay, and then we've got, moving right along here, let's see what else we have here. Mark Andrews says, doesn't Coinbase sell securities? Yeah, they do. What would that mean XRP would still be available if deemed a security? I don't know the ins and outs of that, but the point of it is that lawsuit that was just levied against Coinbase alleges the fact, because in light of this complaint from the SEC against Ripple Labs, the person's making is saying that they were sold a security. Well, good luck on that. I mean, as of now, we don't have securities. But what happens what happens in the interim if Brooks comes out and says, hey, he said in 4 to 6 weeks. So what if new clarity comes out around cryptocurrencies? Well, that would change. If that were to come out and get clarity, and before this whole lawsuit happens, right? If there is clarity and they say now it's debatable when we talk about some regulations could be a lot of different things. Now, it may not put something like a digital asset like XRP or VET or ADA or any of these other coins in the clear, but there might be something that could potentially change depending on what that looks like. And the sad part about this is that Congress has been sitting around I don't know what they've been doing, and I criticize both sides. I'm not going to be political here. I'm just going to say, like, both sides are responsible. We just saw this latest thing where they thought so highly of Americans that they were willing to say, hey, we know you closed your businesses for 9 months and, you've been sitting around wondering how you're going to earn a living. But you know what? Listen, paupers, you're worth $600, and we'll look around the fiefdom and we'll say the kings and the queens will choose the winners. And you're worth $600. President comes back and says, I want 2,000. And right away, the Democrats say, okay, let's do it. But what was sneaky about that whole thing was they gave themselves a raise. They're already making $174,000 a year, and they built into that bill a raise for themselves. Okay, none of them missed a paycheck. None of them went without. I think they should all be suspended. It's like, hey, live like the rest of us. Live like the rest of us, where people had to close down their businesses. And guess what? I hope you got something else going on the side, because you're going to be working and representing people for free. Anyway, I got off on a little bit of tangent there, but Congress was responsible, and we had the token taxonomy going back almost 2 years now, right? And we had some really good voices. There are some people fighting in the space for regulations. And we have Darren Soto out of, he's a little bit north of Orlando in Florida here. And then we have Tom Emmer. We have Warren Davidson out of Ohio. So they were putting together some stuff, and a lot of others that joined in. And Congress is sitting around, I don't know what they're doing. But if that clarity had been passed, that token taxonomy, this wouldn't exist right now. Look how catastrophic something like this can be, in the threat to the altcoin market that we have right here. So Frogadelic Research Group said Brad alluded to a settlement already. So one of the things that they had the opportunity to settle, because this was in a memo from Garlinghouse to the employees, saying that Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, and then also you have Chris Larsen, who he's former CEO, co-founder, and also the board member, had a chance to settle. But settling would have done nothing. A lot of people have alleged, well, why didn't they settle? They should have settled. They would have settled, and you know what would have happened? No clarity. They still would have been wondering where the line is, and they still are going to be at risk. Problem is that it's time to, and again, some of this goes back a couple years, right? So this is not something that just popped up overnight. This has been going on for some time. Let's see what else we have here. Here we go. I could use some tacos. XRP and tacos, two of the greatest things ever in life. So how many Ripple board seat shares are allocated to other companies like SBI? Those seats make the decisions if CEO and Chris are a threat to the company and XRP. I believe in the case of SBI with Katao, I believe he owns 9-point-some%. Because all of the shareholders are the shareholders of Ripple. Ripple's a private company, but because they've had nearly 300 million in funding at various times, depending on, that 200 funding round, I think the company was already valued at something like 10 billion. So you can see if you just, do some simple math, you can figure out what that's worth as far as the percentage of the company. But earlier days, some of the earlier investors on the seed round, on the Series A, the Series B round funding, they're going to get a bigger chunk of that. But we know this publicly, that the largest shareholder outside of like a Chris Larsen is not SBI, but I believe it's Katao. I believe he's the one. He also sits on the board as well. So I don't ever see, they're coming after, they're doing a lot of personal stuff because they went off and sold that. But here's the problem they have, and I've mentioned this before, and I always like when I see something really cool. You guys are probably like, you're on Twitter or something, or you watch the YouTube video, and then like the next day you think about it again. You can never find it. So there was something back in 2014. 2015, Vitalik Buterin was thanking an investor. It might have been Roger Ver. Don't quote me on that, but he was basically saying, if it hadn't been for your support in buying Ether, Ethereum as an organization would never have made it. Now, geez, that sounds very familiar. So if that's the case, how is it that if investors were purchasing that and that was helping fund the organization, which is the same thing that's being alleged in this complaint, and Ethereum has already been deemed not, or Ether, I should say, is not a security? We got a big problem on our hands, because what the SEC give it, the SEC can take it away, right? Potentially. But I'm sure the council is going to argue that as well. They're going to make comparisons to what they already know. They're going to also come back and say, well, the Department of Justice said it, referred to it as a currency, a cryptocurrency. You have FinCEN. FinCEN's already fined Ripple. FinCEN's had Ripple under audits, right? So that's really easy. You step over the line, you get slapped. Now you know what to do. You go like, okay, I won't do that again. When you're a kid, you're one of your parents says, hey man, don't touch that stove because it's really super hot. And you're like, come on, it's not that hot. Boom, you do that. I'm not going to do that again, right? So you kind of get that you know where the line is now. You know what to do. So with the case of FinCEN, who basically goes after the bad actors, right, and keeps everything sort of on the up and up, now Ripple knows exactly what they're supposed to do. They can be open, transparent, but Ripple's been yelling for 7, 8 years saying, hey, we don't even know how to govern ourselves. And that's really impeded the success of Ripple on a lot of levels. Ripple creates software, early days, Xvia, the messaging system. I'm not going to keep all the names straight, but later became on-demand liquidity, RippleNet. And the thing is that when they created software, we know they've made millions of dollars selling the software. But if you're a U.S.-based company, if you're a Wells Fargo, the largest U.S. bank, are you going to think it's a good idea to then throw down and like, yeah, what the hell? We'll we'll roll the dice, spin the wheel. We don't know. Maybe it'll be deemed a security and we'll get more fines. So no, you're not going to do that. There's no way. See what else we got in here. Ripple. So let's look at this one. So Giuseppe Accardo says Ripple advertised new partnerships to attract retail investors and paid their partners to try their ODL. Yeah, they also paid for on the exchanges as well. But this is, if you're going to do something like this, the thing about it is that this is standard operating procedure. Did you guys realize? I mean, at least in the United States, and I'm guessing it's pretty similar around the world, but I guess the time I found this out was like shocking to me. But did you know that if you go to a grocery store, place to purchase your food, one of the bigger places, not like one of the small mom and pop places, that the companies pay for shelf space? Oh yeah, they do. They pay for that. Yeah, sure. They make a little bit on what you purchase, but if you want some shelf space and you're Ritz Crackers and you're expanding your line, you need another shelf because you're going to have a whole new, line of 30 ways to call it a cracker or whatever. So yeah, they pay for shelf space. So that's standard operating procedure. But now if you saw some suit came up and you were like invested in one of these companies, down here we have something called Publix, but if you were invested in them and a suit came out, you're like, what do you mean they pay for this space? Well, that's crazy. But it's what happens. So there's standard operating procedures. I was watching Digital Nomad Investor a little bit earlier today, and he brought this up in a tweet, which I thought was spot on. He talked about, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larsen. A lot of people are upset. How dare them sell, how could they possibly sell the XRP? Well, they do, and part of it's part of their compensation package. If it's part of your compensation package, that's how you get paid, right? So you have to sort of kind of leverage these things out right here. So let me look at something. All right, so let's go look at this here. So this is something. So if you guys know Snowflake, it's an IT company. The CEO. So you guys want to put this in perspective. I had to look it up because I wanted to quote the exact thing. He's worth more than 100 each month. He's worth more and more, but he makes about 1.3 billion annually. That means he makes over $100 million a month. And people are worried about Brad Garlinghouse selling 150, the equivalent of 150 million. I'm not one, I believe in free choice. I believe in freedom. I believe in a lot of things. You got to pay your dues, but if you're the one that's creating the product, if you're the man or woman who dug the well, you reap the rewards, right? So in this case, so what? Who's going to be who are you or I to say what somebody can do with their compensation package? This is called compensation, and they're not paid. Their actual salary may be lower, but guess what? Tim Cook of Apple. You look at Steve Jobs. For years, he had $1 salary. All of his compensation was in stock. Now, if he exercised his stock options, boom, then you're gonna come back and say, well, geez, he's making so much money. Yeah, but he wasn't paid a salary. So when you're dealing with something that's called compensation, that's part of how you are paid. So I don't know why some people have an issue with that, but you guys ever heard of the company Snowflake? You ever think a CEO will be getting over 100 million a month? Well, that's what's going on. So now you know. There you go. So this is interesting here. So Chi-Town, by the way, Chi-Town, I really appreciate you coming in here and supporting the channel. I've seen you, last couple of weeks here. We always post some good stuff. January is going to be an exciting month. Banking for All Act, elections, clarity, the bee flu. Whoa, I haven't heard about that one. The economy. HNYs, I don't know what, I'm not sure what that is, but 2020. Anyway, I kind of agree with you. I think 2020 is going to be exciting for a lot of different reasons. I think we're finally going to get some clarity that we're much needed. And I have to say that that's probably going to be something that's going to be very, very well done. Does anybody have any questions? Pop them in here. I saw another good one. Hey, Phoenix Starborn, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Organic FUD, organic FUD. Yeah, I believe that that's a very, very solid possibility right there. And it's scrolling by so fast here. Jeff says, "Hey, I've run the Savage race in Dade City many times." There you go. There you go. Phoenix Starborn. Hey, Chiposaurus. Chiposaurus. That sounds weird. Anyway, 3:30 a.m. January 1st. Happy New Year, Phoenix. Can confirm still as sucky as 2020. Oh. Well, I was pretty optimistic. So, but hey, listen, there's still hope, man. You're only a couple hours in, XRP's not moved. Yeah, true thing. But guess what? 2021 could be the much provided clarity that we're looking for, which is fantastic. So what else do we have here? Haven't seen anything from Kraken yet. Yeah, that's interesting. That's because Kraken's one of the older exchanges that started, where were available to purchase XRP. So I'll be waiting with my fiat long XRP as soon as the good news comes. Yeah, I agree with that, Neil. It's a very good point you're making there. And let's see, pros and cons to everything. Correct. And the problem was, so Justin Cobley says the problem was Brad was saying he was going long, and then in the background he was selling. Yeah. So yes and no. So let me give you two sides of that. Yeah, the one perspective on that is, yeah, Brad was saying hodl strong, hodl to the end, right? And he was selling some, but the thing is that Brad Garlinghouse has he's received it in his compensation package. He's had XRP, and the fact of the matter is, if he goes along on his XRP, he would dwarf that $150 million, right? As XRP would gain value, he would absolutely dwarf that. So there's kind of two sides of that. And when you're dealing with part of your compensation, if somebody said, Justin, look, I'm going to pay you partially in, Apple stock, and you're also going to get partially paid in, let's say, I don't know, fiat currency, right? And you're like, okay, that's part of my compensation. So 50-50 split. So part of that compensation is you're paid in that Apple stock. So, you're like, yeah, Apple, I like Apple. Or maybe you're like, you don't even like Apple, but you recognize it could be a good stock, and this happens right around the split. So you start seeing some traction. You would say, I'm going to hold on to this for a while, but look, it's part of your compensation. So you go ahead and cash it in, so that's like sort of the analogy here is the fact that when it's part of your compensation package, that's kind of how you're paid. And your salary is a lot lower, right? You're not getting it all in fiat. And there's pros and cons to doing it that way, but that's how some of the compensation packages were worked. And that's just my perspective on it. So I don't see really anything wrong. So Ahid Khan says, hey, eToro suspending XRP trading in the US. Shocker there, man. Thanks for that, Ahid. Appreciate that. By the way, Ahid, do you know when that's going to happen? Are we looking at, is that already suspended? I'm curious to know when that's going to happen. So, boy, XRP is getting rare. If you're living inside the U.S., if you're living outside the U.S., hey, party on, because you guys have really got it straight because, Australia, UK, Japan, Europe, other parts of Asia, it's just like, hey, see you later. We got off our coast here, we've got Bermuda, we've got the Bahamas. They're like, we don't care. So, but meanwhile, the U.S. can't get out of its own way, right? It just cannot get out of its own way. Mario says, even if the SEC shuts Ripple down, they will just move outside the U.S. to a country that favors crypto. The price will rise as they continue to release XRP coins, and one day XRP will be at a dollar king. Yeah. So, yeah, 100% on that. And that's one of the things that, let's jump back into this. I wanted to go into, yeah, so that's a really good point. So thanks for bringing it up, Mario. And let me jump into this story again. So Michael Arrington, who we talked about, the founder of TechCrunch, and he runs Arrington XRP Capital, said that it would still be a viable token as Ripple doesn't own all of XRP. The SEC lawsuit against Ripple, not the XRP token. And you know what? it's so funny. Sometimes you got to bring it back to basics here, right? One of Garlinghouse's most famous tweets about why Ripple was a cryptocurrency, or why it was so valuable as far as the use case is concerned. He said, because if Ripple goes away tomorrow, XRP will live beyond. If Ripple collapses as a company, you have the XRP ledger, you have XRP, and what would happen? Well, what would happen to that 40 plus billion in tokens? Would it go away? Would it get released? I'm not sure what would happen there, but XRP doesn't need Ripple, and Ripple even alleges, some questions inside emails that they had put in that complaint where Brad was questioning Brad Garlinghouse. Is this release of 1 billion escrow, does that affect price? He was asking a question. Does it? They can't control it. Now, the SEC alleged that there were times where they were actually sort of timing maybe sales around maybe product announcements, or other type of partnerships. But guess what that's called? That is called capitalism, right? You want to do the best thing. If you're going to do a big launch, you're going to have a big rollout. This again happens, and it's different than an insider trading where you know something's going to happen. Generally, when you know something's going to tank and you sell off a stock and you have inside information, that's insider trading. In this case, you want to basically put your best foot forward and have the best sort of outcome. So that sort of happens as well. I want to jump back to this. So Arrington says that whatever happens to Ripple will continue to exist. It's independent of the company. It exists on a distributed ledger. Everyone's missing this point. Here are all these exchanges delisting and halting and everything else. Well, it doesn't have anything to do, really. The complaint is not against XRP. They're not saying the XRPs. The complaint is that Ripple sold all billions of XRP and it was an unregistered security. That's what they're alleging, right? And I like JP Thero, who is the CEO and co-founder of Uphold, who put forth the idea, is it possible that something could be a security early days and then it could metamorphosize into something else? I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen. They'll say, well, early days it was a security. Oh, but and we're going to penalize you. And then later it became a decentralized asset, because I think what they could potentially leverage there and make the argument as far as Ripple, the counsel for Ripple, is go back to what Hester Pierce wrote when she came out with her safe harbor, her 3-year safe harbor. She had an idea and she said, what would happen if we were to give fintech companies 3 years to figure out, get the company, a blockchain company together, create a token, have it completely decentralized within a 3-year period, right? Now this is somebody, Hester Pierce, we call Crypto Mom, putting this idea out there and floating it out there. So that kind of leads me to believe that the idea has been floating around already inside of the SEC, right? This is bubbling up. Ripple could go there and say, hey, look, check this out. Here's somebody from the SEC putting forth a potential, I would not call it a regulation, but an idea that could give some clarity to fintech companies by having them simply go out there and give them 3 years, and they have a hard deadline. If you don't do it, there could be some fines levied, could be some other stuff. Later, that idea was sort of revised, saying, well, 3 years is a long time, maybe 2 years. But I think this is really good, because Hester Pierce, if you look at some of her blogs or writings, she's brilliant. She's done a lot of great stuff. You hear her speaking at places. I mean, I've been reading some of her stuff, and I'm just absolutely enamored with some of the. I'm actually kind of wondering why she wasn't elevated to the chairperson, right? I actually thought that if anyone would have been in line to get that, it really ought to have been her, because I know she's really big in the crypto space, but I also see that she's a visionary. And as a visionary, we got to go beyond the 1933 and 34 Exchange Act. We got to go beyond the 1946 Howey test. We can't live in the past. We got to roll on. And Hester Pierce would have given that clarity. And then we could have finally got the Crypto Mom, the affectionate title we've given her. That crypto part could have kicked in. Right now she's just Mom, because we don't get any of that sort of clarity, right? Somebody else is asking here, let me see. It's so funny when I go to this and find a really cool comment, then the comment disappears. So there you go. Maxwell's equation says, hey, price context. Remember back in March of when XRP was around 15 cents USD and dipped as low as 12 cents and was holding around 20 cents? as now even with this SEC case. And that's a really good point, Maxwell, because, by the way, Maxwell is the name of my dog. It's a really cool name. So the reason my dog's name is Maxwell Silver, because I'm like a big Beatles fan. But anyway, that's a really cool name. Jeff has jumped in as tech support. I like that. He put Jeff as tech support. That is so funny. Oh, you're crushing me over here, man. Yeah, if you could assist with some of the questions, I love that, because you're trying to like talk. Unfortunately, like my wife can do 15 things at one time, brilliantly, not losing a thing. I can do one thing at one time. And if I'm doing something and she's talking to me, I'll be like, I can either listen to you or I can do this. I can't do both. Why? Because I'm a man and I just don't have that functionality. Everyone's like, whoa, I'm a multitasker. No one's better multitasking than women. I'll give it that. That's just something they're very talented at. My wife is extraordinary at that. So Duncan Lee comes in and says, hey, somebody within Ripple XRP said, we're here to cause a dent in the universe, so go away. Quite a bold statement. Yeah, it is a bold statement, but there's very few that have stepped up to put a dent in the universe. So I have it is a bold statement, but I like bold statements, and I absolutely loved Garlinghouse's memo. It was like, take no prisoners. You're not coming after us. The Alamo, last stand. We're standing up. We got the swords blazing. We're lawyered up. We're ready to go. Come at us, bro. That's what they were saying right there. Like, come on, come at me. Put them up. Fisticuffs and everything. And I love that, because they could have gone wonky. A lot of other companies would have gone wonky. And it's like, oh my God, let's settle. It's the SEC. And you know what happened? Zero clarity would have happened, and we would be still spinning our wheels. So that's what they're after. They're after all, when you're at the poker table and you're pushing in, you push it all in. Jeff, you see any cool comments, man? Throw them up there. You put all your chips in there, and that's it. But they have a lot on their side. And especially when you're dealing with FinCEN and you're dealing with the Department of Justice, and you're dealing with the fact that the entire world, the entire world has said it's not a security. So there you go. Yeah, please subscribe and smash those thumbs up. Guys, if it's your first time here, like, subscribe, click that notification bell. If you're on Facebook, I think you can sub over there too. I'm not exactly sure how Facebook works. I haven't been on it in 17 years when it was created. Anyway, but every once in a while I check in there because I have a lot of high school friends and a lot of ex, colleagues in there that I don't. It's the only way I could potentially get a hold of them. But it's just that I'm so busy with other things I don't check that. I live on Twitter, so I blame Patrick Healy, who doesn't watch. But if he does, he was the one that shamed me into joining Twitter 11 years ago and publicly shaming me on Twitter, saying, Chip won't join Twitter, and I did. And guess what? Now he's big in Facebook, and I'm all over Twitter. That's how it works sometimes. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead. Throw that up there. I was gonna put something else up here. Throw that back up there, Jeff. There you go. So Lynn Love says, so SEC is saying that the XRP is a security. Then why don't you think that would be the same thing with Bitcoin and Ether as well, and others as well? Well, here's so my opinion on that is that Bitcoin is not a security. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it is a completely decentralized asset, right? There is nobody. I mean, we have a white paper written by an anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto. It's unclear who that is. I mean, Craig Wright's claiming the fact that it's been him all this time. He went into court with all this evidence. This is me, and he certainly, and no one's ever moved that Bitcoin from the from the wallets. But you got to look at that. There's no company to come after. There's nobody to go after. It's decentralized. There's a blockchain. There's Ledger. That's it. There's nobody. So it's pretty obvious and clear that that's not a security. Nobody. When you have a security, you have what they call an investment contract, and with the promise of making a profit. That's really what you would call and anticipate as a security. There's none of that. You buy. Nobody even knows who really created it. I mean, we talk about could have been a government agency. Now in the case of Ether, I've talked about this multiple times, but I do believe that there is a conflict here, and I think that I'm going to continue to look for it. If you guys find it, please tweet it to On the Chain or ping me in a direct message. But there's something out there was floating around. Again, I've been looking for it, trying to put it, because I want to show it to you guys. But it was Vitalik Buterin thanking an investor for, if it had, and it's something to the effect of it, if it hadn't been for this investment, the Ethereum would not have survived. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you've got somebody basically financing it through sort of a token sale. And was that, and if that were the case, Was that actually a security, right? So, but we've had clarity for 2+ years that Bitcoin, the SEC came out and said Bitcoin's not a security, Ether's not a security. But this is the conflict we're going to have, and I'm almost 100% positive this is going to be brought up in if this thing goes to court, if it does end up getting a court date. Go ahead and put that back up, Jeff. I didn't see that, but you can leave that up there. Yeah, SEC's BT are labels. Come on. Okay, what else we have here? Yeah, the SEC says Bitcoin and Ethereum are labeled commodities. Commodities? Okay, that might be right. That might be spot on. I don't know about that. I don't know what the deal with that is. Let's see. Okay, so then Kev Hahn says, I placed my XRP in my Ledger wallet. It will pay off in the future. Yeah, just be very careful. I really want to just, if you're new in the space or not, if you have a Ledger, just understand that depending on when you purchased that Ledger, they were hacked. The company was hacked that sells the Ledger, and they got the emails and some other information. They don't have your private keys. They don't have any of that. Don't worry about that. But what's been happening is people in our community have been getting texts, and I want to make you guys aware of this. They've been getting texts saying, and how convenient around the holidays. Hey, your package is late. Click this link. You click the link. It does something in your phone, and you know now I'm hearing that they're able to SIM swap without a SIM. This is getting really scary. So don't any texts about packages and any texts about that you don't recognize, delete them. Don't even look at them. If you want to know about tracking a package, just log into or click on your email on the tracking. But be careful and wary of emails. They're doing the same thing on the email side. Best thing you can do is just not click on any of that stuff, right? Go to a website, go in there. If you're expecting a package, track it. Almost every merchant has the ability to track a package if you're that worried about it. But don't fall for these schemes and scams or click on this or these phishing scams where Ledger's never going to reach out to you, never going to ask you for clarification, never going to ask you to download additional software by clicking a link. They're not going to do that. If you want to update your software, your live software, go to the website itself. So this is just a public service message. I don't want to see anybody else get hurt in this community. And look, we got to look out for each other, and you got to help others too. If there's other people out there that you know are new and they rely on you because you've been in it for a while, help them too. It's like always pay it forward and help others, help your friends, your neighbors, anybody that got into it. So there's my public message for today. There's my public service message for today. Yeah, we have 279 folks in here. Guys, smash that thumbs up. And also, too, if you're not aware, Jeff dropped another video. He's my co-host on the roundtable. We did a live stream last night. Click on that little link below. Take us over to the, you can subscribe to our other channel and go check out Jeff's video that he dropped earlier today. Those are short form videos. And when we put up those short form videos, because somebody left a funny comment yesterday. I did a live stream yesterday. It was about an hour and a half. Look, live streams are very different, right? Because we're usually workshopping stuff. We're talking through things. We're looking at stuff together. We're trying to figure out, what are we looking at? And we're going back and forth. You guys are sharing your ideas. It's very different than when Jeff and I post a video where it's just us. It's our news or our look at stuff. Whether you boom, boom, boom. They're anywhere from 12 to 17 minutes long. Sometimes I'll put up some 6-8 minute ones. Real easy consumable content, right? It comes on, you're in, you're out, you're done. It might be a couple snippets in that. And so I'm going to post either one later today, or we might even do a live stream tomorrow, depending on how things go. So there you go. There you go. The Backyard Dog says, hey, this is a great article to read about what a security is and whatnot. UStake went through the same thing with the SEC and won their case. This is good. Jeff, could you grab that for some future research? We'll take a look at that. Thanks, Backyard Dog. Thank you, Backyard Dog. I wouldn't go near that backyard. That dog's not playing right there. Look at that. He's got a cool collar on, and he's not messing around. There's no way he's messing around. Phoenix Starborn says, hey, you'll be the first firewall on your investment security. Always check the ledger first if anything like that comes to you. Agreed. Very good advice there. David Alvarez says, hey, I still believe that banks and governments will use XRP as the middleman because of the speed and low cost to move currency. David, I think you're spot on about that. You're absolutely right. They're going to still use it. Look, all this thing is going to do is crush innovation and move Ripple, a $10 billion plus and growing company, out of the United States, okay? And then crush all the other altcoins. For who? about the rest of the world? The rest of the world's going to be like, see you later. We didn't even know you existed. Later. Oh, the U.S.? Goodbye. You know, they won't even think twice about it because they'll be too busy making gobs and gobs of money, right? And, you know, and creating value, and other companies will be creating value. So they're not going to really worry about that too much. Let's see. Giuseppe Accardo says, and those partners never adopted the too expensive ODL in a stable way and dumped their XRP received from Ripple into the market, making the price fall after small investors had made it go up. Look, a lot of this is speculation, Giuseppe, because, you know, it's hard to know what makes the market go. I mean, certainly it's possible, but we do not 100% know. Jeff says that the Bitfinex CTO, Tether is registered and regulated under FinCEN, USDT, not next target of the U.S. Securities. Okay, so that's good clarification right there. Good to know. Thanks, Jeff. Yes, Ol Minuchin. Yeah, Ol Minuchin. Steve Minuchin says storing on a ledger is like stuffing dollars in your mattress. Yeah, well, this is one of the things that I've been a little bit dismayed at the fact that they came out. You know, Minuchin was pushing this whole thing about self-custody, and usually they put out a period of time to get feedback from people. It's usually it's always been 90 days. 90 days, people can comment on what they think about the regulation. Well, this time they dropped it right before the 2-week holiday, and they said you got 14 days. I mean, and they're like trying to shove it through, and maybe it is like shoving dollars under the mattress. But you know what? It's my mattress, and it's my coin, right? It's my digital asset. So guess what? Bugger off. But you know, this always comes to one thing, and it always comes to one thing and one thing only. You know what that one thing is? Taxes. The one thing you can't get out of here without avoiding in life is taxes, and then ultimately death, right? So, you know, this is kind of how these games go. What's going on, Alex D? Alex, hey, Happy New Year to you as well. Alex D does a blog too from his car. He has a great way of signing off. You guys should check him out. He's a cool YouTuber. Yeah, we've had him on the roundtable too. We've had a lot of fun. He's always pumped about XRP, and if you guys want to go get some motivation, jump over on there because man, he's just a lot of fun. I like listening to him. Short little videos, you'll get riled up. So this one is from Tinsetta 100. Thank you for the $4.99, man. Really appreciate the support of the channel. XRP without Ripple is like an iPhone without Apple. You will never be able to update technology algorithm when technology changes. Quantum computing. Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. When you run validator nodes, you can create amendments. So yes and no. I kind of really get where your thinking's going with that. Because you're right. Now, the iPhone's a little bit different because it's owned wholly by a corporation. So if Apple goes away, the iPhone dies as well. However, in this case, because you've got a centralized company known as Ripple Labs, and then you have the decentralized asset, if Ripple dies, XRP exists. But your point is, well, what happens to, you know, what about when we get quantum computing? And then we need to be able to make changes to the algorithm, right, to the core tech to be able to make that. And this is one of the problems that Bitcoin is going to have, right? Because there's there's nothing that provides for that. I still don't think Bitcoin was ever finished. It was a project that just never got finished, and we don't know what happened to Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know what happened to any of that. But in this case, the amendments could be passed on the Ripple validators could be put up. If you get an 80% vote in, then they could be passed. So there still would be ways to have the validators pass amendments. It's the same way as David Schwartz addressing the fact that if it came up as an amendment and was proposed to the validators, and you had a majority vote that let's burn 50 billion XRP that's in escrow, it could do that. It could accomplish that. You know, you'd still have the vote. So there are things that could be done. Now, how far that tech runs and what could happen about that? You know, could you pass an amendment to set up a team that could oversee it? I mean, that much I'm not very versed on, but I know that it is set up in such a manner that the decentralization would allow it to move forward. So it's a good thought though. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Trinsetta 100. Much appreciated. What else we have here? Okay, so better beats, which I like better beats. I'm much a fan of better beats than like slow beats or like loser beats. Or are these beats, drummer? Am I detecting a drummer here? So David Trolley's in there with 222222. Anyway, I tried unsuccessfully several times to buy XRP using Trust Wallet and MoonPay. It did not go through. I read where MoonPay might be a scam. Any insights? You know, I'm not familiar with MoonPay. By the way, Better Beats, where are you located? And Jeff, if you see that come up, let me know. But depending on where you're located, you know, the best way to, yeah, the Trust Wallet. There was something recently about that Trust Wallet. You know, I'll be honest with you. You might have a reason for purchasing like via Trust Wallet. I would stick to some of the bigger names. I mean, even Binance. You know, some of the more well-known names, because if you're dealing with a well-known entity, and again, I'm certainly not dogging on either one of them. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going there. But I'm just saying that, you know, kind of stick to stuff like for example, in the U.S. we have Coinbase. We have Uphold. Now we know Coinbase is going away. I mean, temporarily, but JP Thero with Uphold said the only way XRP will vanish from their platform is if XRP is deemed a security, or if there's no trading volume. I mean, if they don't have any trading volume, they had no reason to keep it live. So there you go. Trincetta 100, another 499. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Meaning the iPhone that already is out would still exist, but there'd be no bug fixes and software patching, which would make it vulnerable to hacks. Yeah, that's true. I mean, unless somebody had access to be able to make those changes and facilitate those changes, yeah. In that case, yeah, that would be a problem. And you're also bringing up the point of quantum computing. You know, if somebody came out and figured that a quantum computing would come about, that Bitcoin would be hacked in 8 years, I think it was. Who knows? But, you know, and then that same question was posed to David Schwartz, and I think he said that it would take much longer for XRP. Now, I don't know. I'd have to go back and research that. If you guys know the answer to that, throw it in there. But, yeah, I mean, your point's well taken. I don't think we know enough about how you would pass amendments on the validators, but the problem is that who's the team that's going to actually make the difference? And so with that case, if we found out, like if a bug was detected, that could be a potential issue. Now, on the XRP ledger, yeah, that could be still worked on. That's open source, I believe. But yeah, you're right. There's a potential for a scenario where I see that could potentially happen. Let's hope not. Fingers crossed here, okay? Maxwell Equations chimes in and says, Trincetta 100, I think that you're confusing this a little. Apple software is closed source. XRP is open source. This is more akin to Android and less to Apple. Yeah, and yeah, yes and no. I mean, but if you think about the same thing, if Google goes away, Android's not going to die. You know, somebody will pick it up. But the difference here is that if you get something like a quantum computing, and Ripple's not in the picture anymore, there is a potential scenario where you might have some kind of software glitches. Again, now on the Ripple side, the whole use case could potentially go away, right? If you don't have Ripple creating software, somebody else could pick it up. Somebody else could come along. It's the same way you have Coil. You know, Coil has a use for XRP. It does micropayments. It's the same way that you have the Flare token or Flare with the Spark token that also helps you, you know, go ahead and earn in XRP. So there will be other use cases, but I guess if the source code or quantum computing came into the picture, you'd have to patch that and fix it quick. And I know what you're saying is that in that case, who would do it? And that I don't exactly know. Could be an amendment on the validator. Not sure. Not sure. Let's see, XRP. So Punkin over here says, hey, XRP fork Flare, quantum computing, JP Morgan uses Flare, and Flare is tight with the copper industries. Copper used for quantum computing. There you go. Yeah, this quantum computing is going to be interesting. And you know, the thing about quantum computing is the fact that you can crack something. You know, encryption is going to be. They're going to have to come up with something else because the encryption is going to go away. There's not going to be anything known as encryption when you can crack it in less than a minute or 5 minutes or an hour or whatever it might be. That could potentially be an issue. But also, I think the bigger issue is quantum computing with AI, right? So you mix artificial intelligence in there, and then we're back to Space Odyssey 2001, where Dave is getting locked out of the spaceship because the computer takes over, and that's we got to figure that out too. That's going to be another conundrum we're going to have to come across here. So. Mr. TJ Michael comes in and says, hey, BTC, Bitcoin's not as versatile enough to survive the incoming U.S. regulation. We have now proven that regulations cannot stop people from purchasing and using XRP toolkit. Yeah, I mean, you got to, look, if there's a will, there's a way. If you put up a wall, people will go under it, they'll go over it, they'll go through it if they can, if it's ability. And so you're right. So what? They change it. It's not a security anywhere else but the U.S. There is no outcome that I see where it's deemed a security. It would be like back in the internet days. You say, well, the internet's this and it's a security. You would just crush it and you would kill the innovation. Now, if you're the kind of a politician that believes in crushing innovation and you like the idea of socialism, yeah, you might go that route, because what you would say is that, well, we really want the people to rely on the government, and we really don't want anything. We don't really want these little guys thinking and doing for themselves. So in a scenario where you're favoring communism or one of the socialisms or fascism, any one of these isms, other than trying to put this lightly, but if you are looking that way, yeah, I don't know if you might want to go the route of like, oh yeah, it's crush innovation, but I don't see where that makes sense in anyone's book, right? In almost any country. Yeah, if you're in Venezuela, yeah, okay, fair enough. But what's the biggest coin traded there in Venezuela? It's not the Petro, which was the endorsed coin by the government that they rolled out. It's Bitcoin, right? That's where, if you're lucky enough to have any money, you put it into Bitcoin, and that's what they trade, right? And guess what? That's illegal. So the point you're making, Mr. TJ Michael, is spot on. Did it stop anybody from trading it? No. They're still trading it all the time. So that has no bearing whatsoever if we look at that. Alrighty, let's see, what else do we have here? All right, let me just jump back to this article real quick here. I wanted to jump back. Arrington said he believed the SEC wanted to bring the case to court to establish clear guidance about cryptocurrencies. Guys, this is so spot on right here. It's what we've alleged right here. It's really what is at the crux of this whole entire case here. Arrington said he believed the SEC wanted to bring the case to establish clear guidance. Right on. That's exactly what's going down here. Arrington is a smart guy, a very smart guy. JP Theroux, who is the CEO co-founder of Uphold, is a smart guy. These guys know what they're talking about. Everybody else is kind of like going off, let's delist, let's do all this stuff. Now, he said it was unclear whether the rest of the SEC or Justice Department felt the same way about Ripple as outgoing SEC Chairman Jay Clayton did. But guess what? The guy they picked to replace Jay Clayton is pro-crypto. Guess who else is? Hester Pierce, Crypto Mom. There's a lot of people in the SEC that are very pro-crypto and understand what's at stake here. Chris Levine, partner of the law firm Withers, said it was hard to say whether Clayton's suit means for the future of cryptocurrency regulation. And I'm quoting him. He said, this suit was filed just before a change in administration. Maybe. It is a spring action in that respect, Levine told the Business Insider. There was clearly no immediate need for an enforcement action, and it's unclear how the new administration, maybe, will view the lawsuit of the Commission's general enforcement agenda in that area. Well, yeah, potentially. I mean, again, there's a lot that could go down. There potentially could be a change in the administration. It's going to be a big day in the U.S. here on January 6th, because that's when we could watch a lot of stuff go down it's only happened once in the 1800s. So, it actually happened. It actually attempted to happen in 2000 as well. The Bush versus Gore, where you had a lot of prominent Congress members that were shut down. It was shameful what they did, because and that's a whole other thing. But anyway, that whole thing was shut down. So. But anyway, I wanted to just say that I want to do my happy New Year's greeting and then make a few little minor predictions here, and maybe we'll roll back sometime. We'll see how this went, right? I want to kind of see, what people's thoughts are. But going into 2021, there's a lot of uncertainty. There is a little bit of doubt, but you know what? What we have on our side is we have some precedents, right? We have some existing government regulators that have deemed XRP not a security. I also believe that some of the smartest people around, you got Chris Larsen, you have David Schwartz, you have You had Arthur Brito, you had even Jed McCaleb. You had all these people come together and create something really phenomenal. And what they really did was they solved a problem that it started in 1974, and they looked to just put away SWIFT. So SWIFT has its own lobbyists. A lot of this stuff becomes political, right? Everything's political. And even Howie was a politician, and I have this feeling, and I'm doing more digging on this, but I feel like they came after Howie, even though he had passed away prior to this filing. But his company was getting his company was starting to gain a big stronghold as well. But certain people did not particularly like him as well. So there was a lot of that going on. Now, I'll put forth what do I see happening in this case. I see a fine being levied. I see a potential of, hey, it was a security, later became decentralized. Something that's decentralized. Is there something known as a decentralized security? I don't think so. Is there something, is there even a term or a concept? Was there an investment contract? No. Did you think you were buying a share of Ripple? No. Does XRP have anything to do with Ripple, other than the fact that Ripple created it? But I do feel like what's the end's going to happen with this is they're gonna go out there and they're going to say that there were some problems early on. They're going to levy a big fine. They're going to say over time, the way the validators worked, you guys became a decentralized asset because you no longer controlled the price of it. And because you didn't control the price of it, it became a cryptocurrency. The reason it became a cryptocurrency was, and the proof of that was that as it was being given to companies like MoneyGram, they were taking that value right out the back door. So it follows all the rule sets of a cryptocurrency. So when would this happen? It'll happen in 2021. Some people think this is going to drag on. No, the reason they'll probably pick a magistrate is because they don't want this to drag on, right? And there's going to be and again, even if the pretrial hearing that we know is in February, but they could set up a trial date pretty quick on this thing. And there's a lot of things that can happen behind the scenes. And because Arrington is alleging the fact that they probably want to go ahead and create some clarity, I agree with that. For Brad and Chris to have settled this thing, it would have been just a waste of time. It would have wasted everyone's time. They would have got fined, and we're back to square zero. What's this going to do? This is going to be the shot heard around the world. In my opinion, and I'm going all in on this, Ripple will shake the world up. What will happen is more people will know Ripple and XRP like they know Bitcoin today. Why? Because when this thing is labeled, yeah, it was a security, here's a fine, but no, it's no longer a security. And again, this isn't financial advice. Do not interpret this. This is entertainment purposes, just me voicing my opinion. So you have to do your own research and you have to figure it out. But what happens when all of a sudden, right now you can buy a Bitcoin for 27, 28,000 or 30,000 or 40,000 or whatever it is. What happens if you can buy all of a sudden the moonshot, the shot heard around the world, the day that comes out the announcement that XRP is a cryptocurrency, it is not a security. What do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. You're going to see that thing shoot up so fast, people can't FOMO in quick enough, right? And all the people that got out and are going to be like, oh no, because they believed a lot of the stuff, didn't have a lot of the facts, didn't do a lot of their own research, and because they didn't listen to people. But again, maybe it goes the other way. It could tank and go the other way. Do I care? I don't. Here's why. Because I know the rest of the world's carried on without the U.S. and they don't care about the U.S. and they shouldn't. They should go on, make their countries great, and explore and try to attract the innovators to their country. To make their own Silicon Valley in whatever resident country they have. They offer tax incentives and breaks, but it's not going to slow the world down. You can't put this genie back in the bottle. The U.S. has an opportunity here to go out with a splash. And I think the way I think it's going to go is this is going to be called a digital currency. This thing is going to be massive, and you're going to be trying to buy in at 90 cents, $1.90, $2.90, $4, $6, $10, $15. At $20, it's going to be a steal, right? Now, will that happen? We have to wait and see. Do I think it's going to happen? I do. I do because of because of the use case, because they're solving a real problem, and because the day it's deemed not a security is like a flip in the switch of all the partners. All the people who are sitting on the sidelines that told Ripple, like, yeah, call me next week, call me next year, call me when you get some ruling, call me when you get clarity, is all going to change. And that's what I think is going to happen. I want to thank everybody for being here. Please like, subscribe, click that notification bell. If it's your first time here, jump over to our other channel as well and click that notification bell and sign. I'm Chip. And I will see you on the next one. I'll see you all next year, which is just tomorrow, or it's already next year if you're on that part of the world, if you're in Aussie or Japan or whatever. And that's all I have. So thank you for supporting the channel on the chain. Jeff and I send our thanks. It's been a spectacular year for us here. We look for a lot. We got a lot. We did some planning for next year. We're rolling out a lot of cool things. We cannot wait to share them with you because you're going to be a big part of it. And it's going to be something that's not been done. So we always like to do something and break new ground. And so we got some big plans for 2021. And guess what? It includes you. So we'll talk more about it as time progresses. But I hope you're excited as we are. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got. Chip out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.